Steve.
Thank you, Jillian. She admitted the DNC was rigged in a major way to favor Hillary. Well, now Donna Brazile backtracking in a big way. Listen to this.
I use the word rigged because that's the word Donald Trump used to describe our election results. The word I prefer to use, and I said in a book when I talked to Bernie, I prefer to say cancer. I did not like the cancer, okay? I call it cancer because we did not rig the primary.
Here to react is Harvard Law School professor and lifelong Democrat Alan Dershowitz. Professor, thanks for being with us.
Well, thanks. You know, as a Democrat, it's very upsetting to hear this. Rigged, cancer. There should be, I've said from the very beginning, there should be an independent, nonpartisan commission set up by Congress, like the 9/11 Commission, to look into this whole election. This election is a disaster for democracy. If there was any Russian influence, we want to know about it. Without pointing fingers, without trying to indict people criminally, I think the same thing should be done and investigate what went on in the Democratic Party. It's a mistake to start with a special counsel because they do everything behind closed doors. We'll never know what really happened, but an independent commission looking into the investigation, the goal being to stop it from ever happening in the future. That's what America needs.
Isn't this what happens in politics?
It shouldn't happen.
Doesn't surprise me. I mean, this is why no one trusts politicians.
Politics are dirty.
We expect this to happen.
But there's a big difference between politics being dirty, which we expect, and politics being criminal. And we shouldn't cross the line and accuse people of criminal, whether it's the Republicans yelling, lock her up, or the Democrats yelling, lock him up. We should stop with the lockup. Let's look and find out what happened, and let's cure it for the future.
If you're, as a lifelong Democrat, how much damage has the revelations from Donna Brazile's book done to the party, to the brand? I mean, think about it. If you were a Bernie supporter, and a lot of people weren't, suddenly it's like, I don't trust those guys because they were in the tank for her.
And a lot of people thought that originally, and I think that Hillary lost some votes as the result of Bernie supporters not doing it. Look, in one respect, it's a good thing. We want transparency. Let's learn everything we can about how dirty our politics is.
But we wouldn't know it if she hadn't written the book.
And that's what's so surprising. She was such a loyalist, and she was so devoted to the party, and now she's helping to tear it apart. Is she doing it because she's really in favor of transparency and democracy? Is she doing it to sell books? Is she doing it because she's angry? Whatever the reason, it's not a good one.
What about what's happening in California? The Daily Californian, there was an op-ed blaming you for Israeli atrocities that was written by Matthew Taylor, saying that you have blood on your hands. Then there were rumors that you were getting paid by the Trump administration. And so you tried to respond to that op-ed, and what did they tell you? What happened?
Well, the Daily Cal, as many college newspapers today, are totally one-sided. You can say whatever you want about people like me if I'm pro-Israel. I don't get to respond. So they absolutely, categorically refused to print my response, even though it was a very factual response. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they, basically it was a blood libel. They said I had blood on my hands. I was responsible for perpetuating Israeli atrocities. And when I try to respond, they say, no, we're not interested in your point of view. And that's what's happening on university campuses all over the country today. One point of view. If you don't like it, you don't get to hear the other point of view.
And see, you have a platform to come on Fox News and share your side of the story. But for other people, they can write anything they want about them, and then they don't give the person a chance to respond. They might not have the platform.
And then people believe it. And that's how they're miseducating the future leaders of America. Because Berkeley is educating. Princeton tried to cancel a speech 2 days ago from the deputy foreign minister of Israel because they didn't like what she had to say. They only want to hear one perspective. They don't trust the students to make judgments about speakers. They have to have committees making censorship decisions of who gets heard and who doesn't get heard.
Well, a year ago, nobody thought Donald Trump would be the next president of the United States. He was elected, and Dr. Dershowitz has written this book. It's called Trumped Up, How Criminalization of Political Differences Endangers Democracy. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us,
Professor.
All right.
Still ahead. The left cried